Welcome back to the elephant jigsaw puzzle, and we're going to start putting our elephant together now. So you can see here all the pieces. We've got a body, head, 2 ears, a tail and 2 arms. There's also a bow or a pom-pom to do, but we'll do that. We can decide which you prefer once he's all sewn together. So we're just going to need to start with the head and the body. That's the first pieces that we're going to sew together. Now it says on the pattern to use knitting needles or similar. So we've got some knitting needles here. Any size will do, but try and get the thinner ones if possible, because really thick ones might leave holes in our elephant and we don't want that. You'll also need your needle and a pair of scissors, and we're going to get sewing. So other people have actually used pins, but you need quite a few pins to hold the head in position, or hat pins, or what else have people used? Anything that's like a thin pin that will go through can be used, even chopsticks, but just try not to get anything too thick so it damages the elephant. We're going to go into a natural hole. Now, if we remember our marker that we left earlier, that goes at the top. That's because the head is shaped. It's flatter on the bottom, just in case you've forgotten to pop your marker in. I took it out. So it's flatter on the bottom and the top of the head is more curved upwards. So that just helps you know which way around to get the head. The string will be toward the back that we left for sewing on the head. So we're going to pop the head on. So we want that at the top. And we want it just so that the head is slightly back of the body. Now you can have it so the trunk's facing a little bit upwards or slightly downwards, gives a little bit more shy look. So you can decide how you want it. But this will hold your head into place while you're sewing it. So if you get a lovely position and it's not held on properly, you'll find by the time you finish sewing, it's moved, which you may end up with it sewn on not exactly how you wanted it. So I'm just going to use these needles to hold it into place. So I'm going through a natural hole, not through the middle of a stitch, just through a hole between the stitches, because we don't want to cause any damage to the thread. If you used a big needle and went straight through it, you might find it's a little bit damaged. We don't want that. We want our elephant really nice. So we're going to put them through. Now, before we start sewing, let's look at him centrally. Is the head facing forwards? Is it central? If it's to one side, take your needles out and do it again. Look at it from the side. Are you happy with the position? That looks quite good. If it was too far forward or too far back, take them out and start again. So we're checking it all round to make sure it's central. These things they're really small things, but they make a huge difference to your finished toy. So just getting the position right before we get sewing. So I'm quite happy with that. That looks a nice position. Probably slightly facing downwards for a little bit of a coy look. So what we're going to do now is thread our needle. So we're going to use our blunt-ended needle. I'm just going to thread that with the thread that we left from the body. If you haven't got one long enough or you forgot to do it, just take a nice strand, maybe about this long, 30-40 centimetres. Cut a piece off, put a knot in one end, and then you would actually go in a little bit further away. So we'd maybe go in something like here, through a gap, up toward here and come out. And we'd keep sewing through so that our knot went inside the body and got lost inside. Just like when you're sewing anything up, your knot wants to be nice on the inside, and bring your thread out at the back of the head, ready to get started. So there's lots of different ways of sewing. We're looking for something nice and secure, and also something that looks neat. We don't want big ugly stitches. Now we don't want this knot shown on the outside, so the first thing I'm going to do is put my needle from the inside coming out and just bring it out just near the knot to there. Pull it through, and that will just pull the knot into more the inside so it's out of the way, just so we don't have a knot. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see. There we are. So we have our knots just pulled on the inside a little bit now. Now the method we're going to use is we're going to do one stitch on the head followed by one equally on the body. This gives a nice firm finish, but also very neat. So I'm just going to use a natural stitch. So you can see there's one of our V stitches. So I'm going to go behind it and come out the other side of it on the head and pull through. Now I'm going to aim for something pretty much opposite. We don't want to be over here or over here, because then you may see your stitches going across. So we're going to go opposite. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go behind there. I'm just using the stitches on the top. So I'm pretty much behind one of the bars that run vertically. And then we're going to go same on the head. And watch as well, you want to be very close. You don't want to be doing stitches up here or in here, because that will drag the back of the head like that and lift the front up. So we want to be aiming right next to where we're sewing, so here. So we're keeping it exactly as it is. So we're just roughly a stitch. It doesn't have to be an exact sign, so that just gives you a guideline. And then opposite again here. So once we've done 3 or 4 stitches, I'm going to gently gather them, and that will pull it together. Don't leave it for, 5 or 10, because you'll find it's quite a strain to pull it through, and we don't want to snap our thread. So we're just doing one opposite, so sticking close to where we are as well. As I said earlier, you don't want to be too far away. We're just looking to get our stitch very close to where we're working. So you're just gradually moving around a stitch at a time, working opposite all the way, and every 3 or 4 stitches just give it a little pull. Don't pull it so tight that it puckers. If it starts to pucker and look gathered, it's too tight. But also, by the same notion, pull it apart slightly as you're working every few stitches, and if there's a gap, if you can see the stuffing or a gap between them, it's not tight enough. Might sound complicated, but it's really quick and easy method, and it's a really easy way of getting it nice and neat. It doesn't take too much effort. Your stitches are hardly visible, and it's just pulling every few stitches, not too tight, not too slack. You'll soon get the hang of it. So gather it up, and you can see here, so it's looking really neat. You can hardly see it. When it's like that near the head, there's no obvious stitches at all that you can see. So we're just going to do the same all of the way around until we get back to the back of the head, back to the back. And once we've got to the back, I'll show you how to fasten off. If it's for a young child, go around twice, because they do have a tendency to drag them around by the limbs or the head. Take a lot of wear and tear, and you don't want the head coming loose. So I'd certainly go all the way around twice, because that's much more important, that it's nice and firm and secure. I'd certainly go slightly past where you started as well. We're just going to go around once, but say just go around again the same, just strengthening it if it was for a young child. But I'd certainly just go slightly past, if you're not going around twice, where you started, just so there's a little bit of overlap, because you don't want to leave a gap. So now we've gone round, so we've gone round nearly to the side. Pull it slightly, make sure we're happy. That looks really secure. Let's have a look. Does that look nice? Yeah. If you found it was higher at one side than the other, you could go around and just sew a little bit further round just to pull it back into shape. I'm quite happy with that. So to finish off neatly, we're going to go in where we came out and come out a couple of centimetres away through a natural gap between the stitches. And then we're going to go back down again through where we came out and away again a couple of stitches away. And this is all just getting our end tangled inside the stuffing. So you do that 2 or 3 times. And then once you've finished, pull it slightly so it's taut. Clip it near the edge, but please don't clip the crochet. It's dropped down. And then the end will retract inside. So we've used that method on the head as well. We use that when we're sewing up. Now we can take our needles out. It's nice and secure. And we can also take our stitch marker off, because that was just marking it so we knew where it was when we sewed it on. So that's that part done. So you now have your head sewn on. So I'll see you in the next video for our next part of sewing up.